Hey guys, this is Tom from Numbers Game Lifestyle, and today we're going to be talking about 5 strategies that you can use to minimize flaking. And for those who don't know what flaking is, it's when you plan something with a woman and they don't follow through. They cancel at the last minute, or they completely ghost you. They don't show up on the date. They don't show up at the time and place that we were supposed to meet. Basically, plans just fall through and there's either no explanation or it's some lame excuse about like grandmother's in the hospital or something. I really had to check up on her. It could be a million of excuses that they give, or maybe they don't say anything at all and they just don't show up. And then when you text them like, hey, where are you at? They don't reply. Okay? Or they come up with some lame excuse. It infuriates every guy out there. Every guy in the world has dealt with this, has to deal with this over and over again. But what can you do to minimize this from happening? Minimize you like going to all this trouble of like planning and arranging things, setting aside time to meet someone and then not showing up, not following through. And at this point, flaking kind of rarely happens to me because I run women through a bunch of screens to ensure that they show up, to ensure that they're not going to be wasting my time. They're not going to be like, oh, I forgot, or oh, I don't know. They just don't show up. No, the vast majority of time, women show up on the first dates with me. And that's because of what I'm going to talk about right here. Okay? So let's get into it. Step number 1, stop booking dates on Friday and Saturday. What? Those are the only days I have free. Yeah, just like you and everybody else. Okay, the majority of people live for the weekend. They're 9 to 5 drones, or they go to school Monday through Friday, and Friday and Saturday are the one times that they get a day off the next day. So yes, people live for the weekend. It's the most important days of the entire week. Women have very high expectations on Friday and Saturday for good reason. It's the one time that they get to brag, what they did over the weekend. I'm so high status. I went to this place. I went to that place. I went to a concert. I went to the, sports game. Whatever it is, the football game, the local hockey game, whatever it is. And that's the thing you don't realize, but guys are out there inviting women on first dates to $100 ticket game, to see an expensive concert, to see an expensive sports event. Guys are spending a lot of money inviting women out on these days, which is why your flake rate goes up exponentially on these days. Because like I advise my guys to do, I encourage guys to invite women out on very simple, cheap dates. You're going to grab coffee, you're going to grab frozen yogurts, you're going to grab drinks. Very low pressure, very low key. Not spending very much money at all. So when you compare that to, the expensive restaurant that some other guy's going to take her out to, the local NFL game, the local NHL game, the basketball game, the baseball game that guys will invite women out on their first dates for, that's what you're competing against on Friday and Saturday. So no wonder you get flaked on these days. Her girlfriends will invite her out. Oh, we're going to this party. We're going to this place. Oh, that's great. Like, you think you can compete with that with your frozen yogurt and your, drinks? Okay, it's not a very high priority to women when you compare that to all the other junk that they've got offered up to them on Friday and Saturday. So yes, you will get this lame excuse like, oh, something came up, can't make it on Friday, can't make it on Saturday, and you get flaked on over and over again. Okay? Realize that on Friday and Saturday, getting laid to a woman is very low priority. It's not brag-worthy. Okay? A woman can't brag about, the hot guy she met and she hooked up with over the weekend. It just lowers her status. Okay? Whereas going to the new restaurant in town or the new NHL game or the new NFL game, that's brag worthy. She gets to show how high status she is. Whereas, meeting some guy and getting laid, It's like taking a dump, bragging about taking a dump over the weekend. Oh, what a great dump that was. Okay, she can't brag about that. So of course, you're going to get flaked on, to all the other stuff that's coming down the pipe on Friday and Saturday, which is why I don't book dates on Friday and Saturday, and most guys shouldn't as well, unless it's the absolutely only other day that you have free. Okay? Most people live for the weekend, okay? So this is why you're going to their expectations are so high. I actually had one woman actually tell me this. She canceled on the date. She's like, you know what? Like, I can't make it for frozen yogurt. I'm not going to spend my night, like, doing frozen yogurt or, getting drinks. It's just not worth it. Okay? She just flat out told me that. I'm like, fair enough. Good play. Not only that, but this shows your high interest. Okay? It doesn't matter. Like, maybe you have, like, a very schedule that, you don't live for the weekend. You've got a lot of nights free. But as soon as you invite a girl out on Friday and Saturday, that's going to make her think that, she's a high priority to you. You have nothing else better to do than to hang out with a woman that you barely know on Friday and Saturday, when these are the most special days of the week. These are the most highest priority days of the week. These are the one and only, like, 2 days that you don't have to work the next day. And you're going to spend it with some random that you don't even know. Like, you should have other people more important than her to spend those days with, to have, like, those times with. So it immediately communicates high interest. Oh, this girl's really special. I'm going to invite her out on Friday and Saturday because you've got nothing better to do. No other people in your life that you want to spend time with that are more important than some random chick that you met or random chick that you saw on the internet. Yes, it lowers your attraction. It lowers your value by inviting girls out on Friday and Saturday because right away she thinks like, oh, he thinks I'm a high priority. He must really like me if he's inviting me out on one of these days. Because like everybody is, she's going to think that you live for the weekend like most people do. It's their own special day. That's the 2 days of the week. They're so special. You're going to brag about what you did over the weekend. This is why I do not invite girls out on Friday and Saturday. Their flake rate goes up astronomically, and their expectations are sky high. They're not in the mood. They're not in the right mindset to get laid. They're there for entertainment. They're there to tell a story to their friends about what the amazing stuff they did over the weekend. And getting laid with an attractive guy or new guy doesn't do that. And in fact, it lowers her status by saying like, oh, I got laid this weekend. It's like, big deal. Any woman can do that at any time. Okay, so this is why, don't invite girls out on Friday and Saturday if you can. Okay, next. Book dates on these days. Okay, the absolute best day is Sunday. If you can manage to arrange pretty much all of your dates on Sunday, you will find higher chances of getting laid, very low chances of being flaked on, because you're not competing against all the brag-worthy stuff that happens on Friday and Saturday. On Sunday, she's going to be nice and relaxed. She did all their fun stuff over the weekend. She went to all these things. The guys probably invited her out and didn't get laid. Now Sunday rolls up and you offer her, she's sitting back and relaxed, watching Netflix or watching some stuff on TV, just relaxed and horny, because when women are relaxed, they get horny, just like everybody else does. When they got nothing better to do, that's when the mind starts to go into sexual realms. Okay, so when you come around and you offer her, hey, let's grab drinks, or let's grab some frozen yogurt, let's grab some coffee, it's a pretty big play. It's a pretty big, like, step up from what she's currently doing. She's currently sitting at home, not doing anything. Meeting up with a guy sounds pretty good. You're not competing against, the local bar, the biggest party in town, or some local sports event that's going on. No, you're just competing with like Netflix and chilling. This is why you will rarely get flaked on Sunday, and you have a very high probability of getting laid as well, because they're horny and it's brag worthy. Okay, getting laid is something she can tell her friends that she did on Sunday. went and did all these things, and then she can tell her closest friend, oh yeah, I got laid, met this new guy on Sunday. It was amazing. Okay, this is kind of something that she can brag about. This is something that, along with all the other activities that went on over the weekend, this is a good way to finish it. Let all the other guys, get that entertainment fix while you're the one getting laid. That's how this works. The next best days are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're all equally good. Okay, because there's low expectations after work, after school. She's got nothing better to do than to, meet up with the guy and see what happens. Okay, expectations are low, which means your chances of getting laid are pretty high. If you play your cards right, it's pretty high, a lot higher than on Friday and Saturday. And of course, when you invite girls out on these days, you're not really showing high interest. Okay, these are just normal days, Monday through Thursday, or a Sunday afternoon, or a Sunday evening. These are all prime time because, not other people, it's not like the big, these only 2 days, these special days that everybody lives for. Okay, so yes, if you can arrange your dates on Sunday, doesn't matter if it's afternoon or evening, do it on Sunday or Monday through Thursday if that doesn't work, if Sunday doesn't work for you. Okay, what's next? Don't book dates more than 2 days in advance. Okay, this is going to be especially for online game, because to a woman on online, all you are like a bunch of pixels, a bunch of text messages. You're not even a real person. So yes, they lose track of you. They completely forget about you very quickly because they've got thousands of other men on their phone coming down the pipe sooner than you. Okay, if you're like 2 days old, she's already forgot about you, which is why your flake rate goes up astronomically. The longer you prolong the date, the longer you postpone the date, meeting up with her. So ideally, you want to meet up with this woman that night, the day after, or 2 days later, especially if you're doing online. If you're doing cold approach, this doesn't apply as much. Okay, it does kind of look like when you plan stuff out further in advance, you can get away with that when you're doing cold approach because you're not competing with thousands of other men on her phone. Let's just face it, most women, especially the most feminine ones, are not very good long-term planners. They live for the moment. Okay, unless you're dealing with like corporate women types who are very regimented, very scheduled. You book something longer than 2 days in advance and they forgot about it and it's like out of their brain. Nothing happens. You'll get flaked on. Whereas the corporate types that are used to being sticking to schedules, writing stuff down and being like, okay, I got to be prepared for this, got to be on time for this. These women, they show up and you can plan dates, well in advance and not be punished for it. But the vast majority of women, you're just going to be pulling your hair out, getting flaked on because you booked it too far in advance. They've already forgot about it. Okay, so the earlier the better. 1 day, the day you meet her, book the date. Or let's meet up tonight, or the next day, or the 2 days later. Short-term memory. That's what we're going with. We gotta have to accommodate that short-term memory. Not only this, but when you book dates only 2 days in advance, it shows less interest. It's not like you're setting aside all this time and planning all this stuff out in advance. You're just like, yeah, what are you doing tomorrow? What are you doing tomorrow night? What are you doing the day after? That's it. Okay, you're not doing these long-term plans that show that you really care about this woman. You're gonna plan out your week. You gotta schedule time for her. This just shows kind of like less effort involved, which is better all around. Shows less interest, shows you don't really care where this goes. You're not dedicating a lot of energy into planning this date. Fourth one, phone call screen. This is why I always call women on the phone when I'm planning a date. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's online or cold approach. When I'm fixing logistics and want to meet up with the woman, I get her on the phone because it helps a lot. Okay, it's much tougher to flake on a real person, especially when you're dealing with online women, As soon as you talk to her on the phone, you become a real person, and she agrees to meet up with a real person instead of agreeing to meet up with some text messages and some guy she doesn't even know, never even talked to. Okay? You have control over the situation when you have someone on the phone. They can't come up with a million excuses. They can't be like, oh, like, when you talk to them on the phone, they can't wait half an hour, 3 hours later to come up with an excuse or to come up with an alternative plan. When you have them on the phone, you have control of the conversation. She can't put you on red and think about it for days on end before she answers you, leaving you there waiting for her response, being like, is she in or is she out? What is going on? Do I move on to the next one? Do I text her again? God forbid. Okay? This is what happens when you like text women to meet up. Just get them on the phone and you'll quickly see whether this girl is in or out. Again, you're never left on red. Okay, this is something that I absolutely hate. I invite a girl out, I get her number, text her, invite her out, and you get left on red. This doesn't happen when you call her on the phone. And you're going to find out if she doesn't pick up, you're going to find out why. And if it's not a good excuse, then you're going to be like, okay, this woman is not interested. I'm not texting her anymore. I'm not going to waste any more of my time. And I'm going to move on to the next. You see if she's actually normal. Okay, this is screening women. Before I meet up with her on the date, if she's just an online girl, I want to make sure she's normal. And that if I set aside time to meet her, it's not going to be all for nothing. It's not going to be a waste of my time. So I'm going to get her on the phone and see if she's good to talk to, if I can talk to this woman, or if it's going to be like pulling teeth, or, it's just going to be not compatible with me. It confirms interest, disinterest. When you call a girl and she doesn't pick up or doesn't tell you why she can't talk on the phone, I'm going to take that as disinterest. Be like, okay, you blew your shot. It's on to the next one, okay? And I know some guys are going to be like, no, women these days, they don't talk on the phone. Girls these days, they're scared to talk on the phone. A girl that's interested will tell you, like, I'm really scared. I'm really nervous. I don't know if I can talk on the phone. And then you can reassure, like, look, I just want to make sure that you're normal. You want to make sure that I'm normal as well, right? And then you proceed from there. You get her on the phone and you talk to her. If a woman just doesn't refuse, like, I'm not talking to you. Like, I don't feel like talking to you. Like, why are you calling me? Screened out. I do not want to meet this woman. And I just save myself a ton of time and energy and I move on to the next. Okay? This is why I rarely go on dates where I have bad experiences. The vast majority of time, it's been very pleasant, very great, because I screen these women beforehand. Lastly, we're going to do a confirmation text. So the day that you're supposed to meet her, you're going to say like, hey, I'm going to be running a bit late. I might be 5 or 10 minutes late. And you see, this is before you leave for the date, before you even get ready. And you see what she says. If she says like, okay, no problem. Like it's only 5 to 10 minutes, no big deal. Or if she doesn't respond at all, or she says like, oh no, like wait a minute, I can't make it. Then you save yourself a ton of time. This is when you get confirmation that you know she's ready to meet up with you and you're not going to go to all this trouble of getting ready, leaving your house for nothing. You save yourself time. If she doesn't reply to your confirmation text or she gives an excuse about why she can't make it, you just saved yourself a ton of time. You didn't get ready. You didn't leave your house. You lost nothing. Now keep in mind, all of these checklists, all these screens are super important for online dating because heck, you're just dealing with a ton of volume going through your phone and you want to cut through all the like time wasters that are going to waste your time, not show up on dates and flake all the time. Okay, other things, these aren't going to be that important if you meet them through cold approach. Mainly because you're not dealing with like a cutthroat environment where you're competing against thousands of other men at the same time on her phone. Okay, this is why you have to be very cutthroat when you're dealing with online. It's a volume thing. You just got to keep, running them through the funnel. Whereas cold approach, you'll find that when women say that they're going to meet up with you, doesn't matter how far away it is, they're most likely going to show up. because they don't have thousands of other men hollering at them, doing stuff, and she's already met you through cold approach. She already knows what you're like. She's seen you face to face, so she already finds you attractive, and she's talked with you and knows that you're a normal person, you're not a weirdo. So yes, this is enough to convince most women to follow through on the dates that they plan with guys from cold approach. Anyways, guys, that's the video. If you need help doing this, making dating fun where you rarely get flaked on and the women that you do meet are very pleasant to be around, very excited to meet you. It makes dating fun. You rarely have bad experiences when you run them through these screens. There's coaching links down below if you need further assistance with this. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Thank you for watching.